So coming in at number 10, we have The Devil Made Me Do It, otherwise known as The Conjuring 3. Honestly, this is the only movie on this list I would actually say bores me. The others are boring in parts, but this is the only one I feel like it's actually tough to get through. And considering how much I love the first two movies, that is saying a lot. It was such a drastic step back in quality, in tone. It was so tonally different. And yes, I love when horror does something new and refreshing, but it just didn't fit within this context. I'm not saying they couldn't have done a courtroom drama if they'd done it right, but here it just felt like The Joker 2. Though to be honest, I haven't watched the whole of that movie because I was a huge fan of the first Joker movie and they completely butchered the second movie. Anyway, I'm not going to go there, but the point is it felt like it was shoehorning in a courtroom drama into something that shouldn't have been going in that direction. And it felt like with number 3, the way they told the story, it would have been better if they had just stuck to the typical haunted house formula. It was a winning formula, as the box office showed that this week people aren't sick of that formula. They should have stuck with it. So coming in at number 9 is The Curse of La Llorona. So I feel this one is the most unmet potential on the list. It feels like it had so much potential. Firstly, it was so Americanized. I feel like they should have made it set in Mexico. I want to see old Mexican grannies huddled together telling their stories, and it just feels like they should have gone, if they wanted it to be in America, like the same route as Paranormal Activity, the marked ones, where they had it set in a very Mexican community in California, and they should have done the same thing. I think this was set in California, but it didn't feel Mexican. I don't know. Maybe I'm nitpicking here, but yeah, also I feel like the story as a whole has the potential to be so creepy, and I've never really seen it told in a way that satisfies me. Like there's that episode of Grimm, there's an episode of The Haunting Hour that covers La Llorona, and there's a really bad TV movie that I couldn't even finish watching. But yeah, I've never seen it really live up to its potential, and I feel like it has a potential to be really creepy. I feel like they shouldn't have gone so heavy with the CGI, like keep it minimal if you're going to do it. It was the typical CGI monster demon face. We all have seen it before. I feel like The Woman in Black is a great example of what it should have been. Like we have this ghost lady who just wears a veil. There's hardly any CGI, and it just makes it so much more creepy with those practical effects. I feel like it's just incredibly generic, this movie. The third act especially, just generic is the word I would use for it. So number 8 is The Conjuring Last Rites. So I'm not going to go too much into this. I did a full-length review. If you want to check that out, I'll link it down below. Basically, my quick takeaways from it are that we see too much of Judy and we see too little of the Smurl family. I always call them the Smurf family, and then I have to go and edit it. The Smurls were interesting. I liked those bits of the movie the most, and I wish they had focused more on that. But still, this movie was better than The Devil Made Me Do It, which isn't saying a lot, but still, Michael Chavez didn't completely horribly butcher it to the point that I thought he would. I know I'm being harsh, but it was a disappointment to me, but not on the level I thought that it would be. So number 7 is The Nun. So I love the look of this movie. I adore the look of this movie. It is so gothic, atmospheric, creepy. But then it feels like it just has all these parts to be an incredible movie. It has a really good cast. The lead actress, I can't remember her name. She's from American Horror Story, Murder House. She was good. The villain was good. But the script is where it fell apart. And that's disappointing because it had a lot of potential. So number 6 is the sequel to The Nun, which actually surprised me because Michael Chavez made something better instead of worse. And yeah, I like the school setting. I think there was some genuinely creepy moments. I liked the characters. I feel like I would have liked to see more of this. Maybe we'll see a third Nun movie, though I would definitely prefer something new and fresh. There were parts of the movie where it dragged, but still I thought it was scary at times. I didn't hate it. So number 5 is Annabelle. I really like the 70s setting of this and the storyline, the concept of this Rosemary's Baby style couple who were getting haunted. I feel like once again it had a lot of potential, but it just felt so incredibly generic and it didn't scare me even once. And it was a pity because we had good acting, it looked good. Once again, it's a matter of the movie falling apart with the script. So number 4 is Annabelle Comes Home. So I feel like this is one that had the potential once again to be really good, but I would say this is one of the ones on my list that disappointed me the most because it didn't live up to what I thought it would. Because in my head, I thought it was going to be like the Avengers Endgame of the Conjuring universe. We have all these different stories, all these different things in the Warrens Artifact Museum coming to life, and that would have been so creepy. And we see glimpses of it, but they only touch on it, and I really hope they delve into that in the show. Do like a Goosebumps style episode per week. That would be really cool. This movie had some scary moments, so it had some funny moments. I really like the girl that plays the younger Judy in this. I felt like I liked her a lot more than the older Judy from Last Rites. Overall, I don't mind rewatching this. So number 3 is Annabelle Creation. So this is like The Nun 2. It's better than the one that came before, but this time by quite a bit. This movie really blew me away with how good it was. The way that it looked was incredible. Atmospheric. I think having the house in the middle of nowhere really added to the creepiness. There was some really scary moments. Like this is one I wouldn't watch at nighttime. I'm a baby, what can I say? I like the characters, I was invested in them. The doll maker, the orphans. This is one I've rewatched quite a few times. Okay, so number 2 is The Conjuring 2. So this is one I had to really sit and think about because there is only such a small difference between the number 2 and the number 1 in how much I enjoyed it. We all know that number 1 is going to be number 1 by now. We'll go into why in a minute, but when it comes to number 2, I would actually say this is scarier. I love the London setting. I feel like the Warrens bring so much heart to this movie and show that horror can have heart. We see Ed sitting down and playing Elvis. It is such a great movie. It's definitely one of those cozy rainy day horror movies for me. I know horror movies probably shouldn't be cozy, but it's like it goes into my list of like the good old fashioned British style ghost stories that are just cozy. It's got the rainy setting. I really like this movie. Okay, no surprise here. Coming in at number 1 is number 1, the original, the one that started it all. Look, I will say this is my dream house, minus the demon. I mean, just having like an acreage farmhouse is my dream. Anyway, this movie, not as scary as the second, but still definitely creepy. It's not one of the all-time scariest movies by far, but it's refreshing. I feel like that's the word I would use. When it came out, it felt like it was something I hadn't seen in a while. It felt fresh. The approach they were taking it back to the standard haunted house, seeing the Warrens for the first time. I really enjoyed this movie. Also because I think, even though I didn't find it scary, it did stay with me for a while because at the time I was working as a camp counselor on a summer camp. I'm an Australian and I was working over in America, and we were sleeping in a cabin in the middle of the woods, like by ourselves, and it just felt like, yep, this is the perfect setting for a horror movie. Yeah, don't go watch a horror movie when you're sleeping in a cabin in the middle of the woods. Anyway, look, I don't know, I'm still sort of going back and forth between if I like number 2 or number 1 better. I might even go as far as to say it is a tie. I feel like that's the fairest thing I can do, is give it a tie, but for the sake of making a list, I will say it's number 1. Let me know down below what you guys think, what your ranking is. What's the one you can rewatch the most? I'd really like to hear what other people think. Feel free to watch some other videos. Like I said, I've got my Annabelle, my Conjuring 4 review down below. I've got other horror reviews on my channel if you want to check those out. Otherwise, I'll see you guys in the next video.